My name is Richard Oluyinka. Welcome to the Africana Show. This is a program that has been designed to showcase Africa globally. And today I have two gentlemen with me on behalf of Legacy Foundation. Today's edition of Africana Show is a special one indeed. Seated with me are representatives of Legacy Foundations. Legacy Foundation is a charitable organization aimed at helping the development of a group, but you're going to hear more. To my far left, I have the vision, I say the founder of Legacy Foundation, Mr. Ademola Ogunfidodo. Welcome to the studio today.
Good morning.
And also, on my immediate left is the spokesperson, Mr. Niyi Morele.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for hosting us.
Sir, it's a great pleasure to have you on the Africana Show today. Is there any reason why you're actually here today?
Well, we're here to speak about our charitable organization, Ile-Ife Legacy Foundation. It has been a great journey for us. We set it up in 2015, just before the Oni of Ife, Obakumadi's journey, passed away. And we initially set up as just a WhatsApp group. But we realized that there's more we can do with this kind of group. We've managed to capture everybody's imagination. We've managed to get a lot of Ifes in both diaspora and Ile-Ife. We've managed to get them together. We've been working together gradually. We've been chatting and talking, and everybody has been voicing their opinion about what issues that concerns Ife. What actually brought us more together was the diminish of about Wadis Jade, so rest in peace. We realized that we are more connected with our city than we can ever imagine. Everybody was concerned, we were all worried, and so what's the next step? What's going to happen next in Ife? So the debate was very hot in those days, and so that captured our imagination, and from then we then went on to who's going to be the next Oni. And, that was a big issue, although the job wasn't our own, it wasn't for us to decide. It was the job of the kingmakers and Rafobaje to decide who becomes the next Oni. Right. But we all feeling somehow that we want the best for Ife. But thank God, in the end, we got what we all like now.
Okay. Why did you set up Ife Foundation? What is the vision behind Legacy Foundation?
Ife Legacy Foundation, we set it up mainly to see how we can make changes in Ife, how we can help with the development of Ife. In Nigeria, we are used to leaving it to others to do. But we've seen that is not actually working for us, especially in Ife. If you go around in Ife, we say Ile-Ife actually means the city of life, or that was where we believe the whole thing started from. But if you go around in Ife, that's not the case. There must be a reason. When we were all growing up, Ife was one of the best cities you can go. You go to cinemas, you go around, there was supermarket, the place was working, and all of a sudden it was going down. And we can't keep on leaving it to other people to do. So when we realized, well, actually we can all work together, both our leaders, political leaders, business leaders, people in diaspora, people in Ile-Ife, politicians, and all sorts of people, we all realized, we can actually work together. So we decided to register Ife Legacy Foundation with the CAC in Nigeria as a charity, so that we can work together and develop Ife. And thank God, our new Imperial Majesty, or Adeyeye Enito, who is Richard II, he has embraced our foundation, and we are happy to say that we are working with him in as much as we can do for the development of Ife.
I know the new Oba has brought a lot of hope, happiness, and joy, like a rejuvenation to Ife. What is the hope that Ife people have now? I mean, the new hope for Ife presently.
It is a new dawning for Ife, a new era. And our our new Oni cannot come at a better time. We've all somehow, things is changing in Nigeria. Buhari, I'm not a politician, but our president now said change. They are not changing. But we realize that for Nigeria to change, we all actually have to change. We all have to play our role. But how can we do all these things? How can we make the changes that we want? So we decided, okay, we will put our package together and see how we can work on it. As we go along with the interview, there are a few things that we're going to mention that we've been working on in the past few months. It's been a very good eye opener. It's been a very hectic work, but we realized that we need to do it, and it's been an enjoyable thing. It's an enjoyable thing for us to do.
All right. You as the spokesperson, Mr. Morele, I read in one of your communiques to say the time for Ife has finally come. How would you explain that?
Well, it's a very interesting question, because the thing is, all along, like you said, the coming together, or the coming together of legacy, people in legacy, that we now call legations. What we realized is it was actually before the death of Oba Okumade Shijade, of blessed memory. And I think what happened is everybody has this desire, we have this passion, we're worried about the state of things in Ife. We're not really excited, we're not happy. We look at the city and all we see, it doesn't represent the fact that Ife is the capital of Yoruba Kingdom, put it that way. And even among the other cities within Ife, within Osun State, we realized that we're a little bit not where we're supposed to be. And so there was a passion, there's a desire in the heart of all Ife indigenous, but women abroad. Everybody wants to see a transformation and change, but change doesn't just happen. Somebody has to make it happen. And then we realized that everybody, we have this a cry, a desire for the development of Ife. So we started coming together and coming up with ideas and what we can do, and also going into committees and doing research, finding out what has happened in the past, where we are, where do we want to be in the future. And then Kabiyesi died, and of course another Oni emerged. And the reason why the time of Ife has finally come is that we now have a man who his agenda, his thought, his heart, his mind is that Ife must be repositioned and Ife has to develop. And we have seen that, and that's what it is, that our time as a city and also as a capital of the Yoruba Kingdom, our time has finally come, because now we have people who is actually committed and interested in the development of Ife, from the palace to every other person that is on the street. So it couldn't have been a better time than the time that we are right now. We know that our time has finally come.
And this change and transformation that you're talking about, how do you hope to effect the change and transform Ile-Ife?
The change is not difficult. I think what happened is this, and in the last 1 year we have things that we can actually use to show for right. What happened is, if there's going to be a change, someone has to envision the change. There must be a vision. There must be, okay, what exactly, what kind of change, what kind of transformation, what kind of development, what exactly is development to Ife? What does it mean for Ife to develop? So the first thing is that we have a vision, and that is one thing that brought legacy together. What knitted the heart of legation together at the moment? If you're someone that follows the chat on the platform, you will see that what knits our heart together is people have one thing or the other that they want to happen. There are certain things that they want to see in Ife. There are certain developmental physical developmental things that we want to see in terms of economy, in terms of our politics, in terms of our education, in terms of youth, in terms of grassroots and socio-cultural development. We want something to happen. So that's the starting point. Now that we have the vision, what we have succeeded in doing as legacy is to be able to actually annex that vision, put it together so that it becomes something that is documented. And now that it's documented, we've been able to develop strategies. How can we achieve those things? And then one by one, we're now beginning to go into implementation of those developmental changes that we actually want to happen in Ife. So that's where we're working, and we are kind of getting every other person out there, Ife indigenous, both home and abroad, to actually flow along with that. And for you to know the reality of this, we're privileged to have said, okay, we know we have a desire about how we want Ife to be, what it should be. We know what to do, and then we need resources for it. And we called out on Ife indigenous out there that yes, we want Ife to develop, but we need resources in order to develop it. And lo and behold, people have been kind of being faithful in giving us funds, in giving us money, in paying their dues. Little by little, now the drops of a beach like bit there is beginning to kind of create a pool of funds for us that we can actually use in order to implement the developmental changes.
What I would like to add briefly is we at the beginning of 4 days we managed to put a report together during the coronation of Oni Ojaja II. We managed to put a package together, and the package was actually what came from most of our chats on the forum. So we wrote about 35 pages package and we presented to our monarch during the coronation, and it's been a very good starting point for the monarch, and we've actually seen some of the steps it's been taking that is a little bit related to what we put in our package. So we're happy that as young as Ife Legacy Foundation is, we're happy that we've managed to play a little bit of role, play some part in the changes that is happening in Ife right now. We're happy to be part of it.
Looking at the history of Nigeria economically in the old western region, Ile-Ife used to be one of the producers of cocoa. And what would you say is the economic potential of Ile-Ife in terms of farming, technology? What do you see the potential of Ife presently?
The economic climate of Ife up until now, I would say, is not encouraging. And it shouldn't be like that, because like you rightly said, if you go back in history, you can see that Ife occupied a strategic position economically because of the fact that we know what was our economic strength, which is agriculture, producing cocoa, and because we are endowed with expanse of lands, and in those days, those lands were cultivated, they were farmed. But just like the demise of economic situation in the nation as well, when all this oil and whatever came, everybody left farm, and then we came back to the city in order to enjoy city life. All we have to do is just sit down, wait on monthly basis for allocation to come from federal government, and then they give money to state government, and then state government give money to local government. But good enough, part of the change that we're experiencing, not just in Ife alone, but nationally, is the fact that we're thinking of diversifying the economy. So that kind of tied with one of the strategic research that we have done as Legacy Foundation, that you see a city, the development of a city, one of the things that is quite important if a city is to kind of be develop is the economic climate. So at the moment, part of our own contribution in terms of economic development has to do with what can we do in order to ensure that we use what we have in order to get what we want without waiting for any government. Of course, whatever government does, that's great. But however, we cannot keep waiting for the government. I think one of the reasons why we are the way we are today is because we have waited on government to do everything. And unfortunately, if they have not done anything, then we just kind of roll with whatever we got. But if you and I, if him and every other person out there, we can say, you know what, even if the government doesn't do anything, we're going to put our little resources together, and we don't ensure that our city experience change in terms of health awareness, in terms of business, in terms of economy, in terms of youth development, in terms of education. If we can have a mind to do that, it's not going to be long. Even the government will be forced to listen to us. We become a force to reckon with. But if we don't do that, then we're going to be at the mercy of the government. And so they're going to do whatever they think they can do and say, well, the rest is your problem. But we want to change that. We want to transform that. So our economic situation at the moment in Ife it's not good. I had I made some observations in the last 2, 3, 4 trips that I've made to Ife. Our daily economic lifespan is so short. People don't get out very early. Then they close very late. Everywhere is dark, and some of the places that used to be strategic economic centers before, it's a different ballgame entirely now. I think we need to find a way of changing that around, and that's one of the things that Legacy is actually we're interested in, economic development.
Another one is tourism. I know if it has places that can attract visitors like Obaromi or Esimiri and all the others. How is Ile-Ife getting prepared to tap into the limelight coming on Ile-Ife as now?
That is actually one of the areas that we like to give credit to Oni Ojaja II. He has done a lot since he came into power, since he came to the throne, in promoting Ile-Ife. We've started seeing changes. Recently, we had reported by the ambassador from Cuba actually visited Ife, and they are thinking of setting up some few things, but we can't expand on that yet. But tourism is the area that the owners look into. We are interested in that area as well, and there's been some few businesses that are setting up now in Ife that can take visitors to all these various locations, the Oporomia, the Yemio, and few other interesting places. And last week, I think they did also in event that attracts huge crowd. So tourism is coming up in Ile-Ife, and we definitely will do more. And we are so proud to say that the new palace now is a tourist center in Nigeria. It's simply one of the best palaces now in Nigeria. So we're happy with that.
Now, let's talk about your projects. The Legacy Foundation. And some of those things I saw again is the Legacy Elderly Welfare Scheme, Ife City Gates, Legacy Environmental Health Campaign, Legacy Public Toilet Facilities. How do you hope to finance this, and what would you need from other Ife indigents in putting all this together?
Like you rightly said, I think the primary thing is vision commands resources.
Right.
When there is a vision, people don't mind. They're not scared, or they're not. They don't hold back when they see something that is good. And I think that's one of the things that Legacy we have come to realize that Ife indigents, both home and abroad, they actually want to contribute to the development of Ife if they find a credible platform, an opportunity where they can actually input something. And of course, if a Legacy Foundation is not going to be the first organization that will imagine Ife. Probably we have other organizations, Ife Development Board, and so on and so forth. So in terms of resources, it's not our problem, and I'll say that again and again because I've been in this kind of environment for a while. So in terms of resources, our resources are going to come from primarily Ife indigents, because you see, it's not just good enough to say, "Oh, I desire Ife to develop." You need to be able to input something, no matter how small. The good thing is, we don't have to wait for billionaires and wait for a huge amount of money. Your little amount of money, whatever you can put, whatever I can put, if we manage it effectively, we can begin to change Ife bit by bit. And every little helps, every step that we'll take it increases the potential for Ife to develop. One thing that I want to warn people about is, in the last 5-6 months, we have seen KBC almost, everywhere doing this, doing that, this project, that project. We must be very careful that we don't expect that KBC is going to develop Ife for us. We need to be very careful, even though everybody must be involved. As the head, what he is doing is to pioneer, is to set a pace, is to let people see that it can be done. We can do it, and it's not just saying it, it's actually literally using his own resources to do it. And that's one of the reasons why, recently I began to think about his slogan, You know, I began to think actually people should begin to ask themselves, kilo sheshe, and báwo ló ṣe máa ṣe. How are we gonna do it? We need to understand that, so that as he's breaking the ground for us, as he's pioneering, as he's going into different areas, he needs to look behind and see an army of people doing the same thing. You know, basically, no matter how small. So even if he's spending billions, somebody should be there. Even if it's 100 you have, put the 100. Somebody should be there. Even if it's 1,000 you have, put that. So that collectively we can speed up things, and then we can get this vision, what he has in mind, you know, to work effectively. So number one is individuals are going to be involved. But number two, which is extremely important, is that we don't want to be at the mercy of, you know, just sitting on individuals begging for money for all our projects. We actually want to, in our thoughts as the administrative setup, we have thought about what we call legacy venture partnership, which is actually the business arm of legacy.
All right.
Right.
So it could be a means of financing.
It is not that it could be. It's actually going to be the major. It's going to be the major. That source is going to be the major source of financing legacy projects, because there are 3 areas that we're looking at that we're going to be involved in terms of creating business platforms, which we want to encourage Ife indigenes to invest in as well as time goes on. And those 3 areas are areas whereby at the moment Ife is endowed with. Number one is our tourism. Basically, KBC has declared Ife to be a tourism zone. Right. Number 2 is solid minerals. At the moment, as I'm talking to you, in Ife, they have discovered nothing less than 4 types of solid minerals. One of them is gold, and people are mining it already. So that's number 2. Number 3 is agriculture. These areas, as time goes on, you're going to see, we're going to begin to make announcements. Of course, I will explain a little bit about that later. We want to create platform through which, you know, a kind of venture partnership through which interested people, I don't expect it to be meant for all, but we expect Ife to come and invest in Ife if we really want Ife to develop. Because the thing is, you know, if you don't invest in Ife, then you cannot pull people to come and invest in Ife. It has to be that we set the pace first. So we're going to create that platform, a very constructive, strategic platforms in terms of, you know, funds, agricultural funds, we're going to have health funds, we're going to have tourism funds, and people can actually choose which of these funds that they can actually invest in towards, and these things are going to be like, you know, towards the development of these sectors in Ife, which, as when we do that, it kind of give Ife an opportunity to develop economically. We create employment for the people and also generate revenue for Ife generally, and then whatever it is that, you know, we make from there, we kind of invest back in order to develop the city. So we have some things in mind. We're not, I mean, we some planned stuff that we know all we need to do is just to have constructive or strategic management or concept in order to be able to achieve it.
You are going to say.
I was going to say, because your question at the beginning was, how are we going to finance our projects?
Yes.
We've been very grateful to our members that have been contributing. We managed to raise some funds that we very soon we're going to make some announcements, and we could actually start on some of our projects for now. For instance, we've announced the scholarship scheme. So we put some money aside for that. We'll be able to finance that for at least a year or so, and then as we go along, when people see what we're doing, we believe that they will probably contribute more. And also our Ife City Gate project, we're going to make our proper business plan very soon and put out the proposal, and also our Ife elderly welfare scheme. That is going to come under our general health scheme that we are working on. We're very, very actively working with some of our partners in terms of the health clinic and schemes that we're going to launch very soon in Ife. Members have been very generous, they've been supporting us, and I would like to encourage those who hasn't probably done what is done to probably look into it. But very soon, we'll see some of the things that we've been working on.
You know what? I just need to kind of quickly buttress what he said as regards the scholarship program, because it's not that we're just going to start. We have started our project initiatives already. The takeoff, we decided to ensure that the takeoff was announced in the palace at the feet of the throne of Oni, because we wanted to be that's where the thing took off from. So, and it's been announced by the board of trustees. So that has taken off already. And in terms of the scholarship, we are expecting that at least 30 students, Ife indigenes, would benefit from that in this first year. And that 30 is 5 students from each quarter. Ife has 6 quarters, so including Modekeke. And basically we want 5
from
students
each
from each quarters, which will be 2 undergraduates, 2 secondary school students, and 1 primary school pupil that will benefit from Ife Legacy Foundation scholarship scheme. We expect that to grow with time, but at least this first year we expect at least 30 students of Ife indigenes to benefit from that.
And having said that, what is in place for the unemployed Ile-Ife youth?
Yeah. We have plans for.
I saw in the reports and recommendations that you have under empowerment and education.
That's where that comes in. I don't know whether he wants to answer it or want me to take that. If you look at it, we have youth empowerment. One of the areas that we kind of research in the process of our research, I'm putting our reports and recommendation together, is we realize that education is one thing, but youth empowerment is another thing.
Yeah,
so a lot of people may not want to go to school, but they may not go to school. They might have dropped. Actually, we knew that many people have dropped from school in Ife. One of the reports that we got is many Ife youth are actually going into becoming bus drivers and some other and they're being used as well for politics and so on and so forth. So we have what we call youth empowerment program, which it will begin to roll them out with time. Different programs that would just be to train people in different vocational areas for them to, even though they have not gone to school, but they have certain things that they can actually lay their hands on. So we're going to begin to roll. We're going to begin to roll out the vocational programs with time as we progress for the youth.
Wow. What I'm just going to say is now that Ife is ready, do you think the government should? What are you doing to also bring the government of Nigeria to say, now we are here, we want to show you these opportunities, we want to show you these potentials? How do you want to convey this federally?
Well, one thing we're happy at the Legacy Foundation is we've been politically neutral. We don't want to encourage our members to say, oh, we're either this party or that party. We're very happy that some of our members of our board of trustees, they come from also political parties in Nigeria, and we also have people from other areas. What we want to do is, we want to set up our scheme, and as we go along, I'm sure people will notice us that this is what we're doing. That is, then if we need to expand, we might actually go in partnership with the state government. There are actually some areas that we're looking into, that we're working on at the background, that we'd like to partner with the state government very soon. So what we want to encourage all Ifes to do, if indigene anywhere they are, is that we all want to work together. It doesn't matter. If Legacy hasn't come to replace anyone. If Legacy, we are here to work with all Ife indigenes, all Ife organizations, wherever we are, anywhere you are, in Ife or in Europe or in America, we want to all work together. Because it's no point that 10 organizations goes to Kabisa and say, oh, we got this, or 10 organizations goes to Ife and say, we want to do bowl, or we want to do toilet, or we want to do scholarship. We thought it would be better if we can all work together on our scheme.
Yeah, to achieve more.
Yeah, we achieve more if we can work together. So that's our main aim of Ife Legacy Foundation, because at the beginning there was some issue, there was some questions that keep coming up on our forum. Oh, has Legacy come to replace IDA? That's Ife Development Board. Yeah, IDB. as if legacy hasn't come to replace anybody. We haven't come as a rival to anybody. We are here to work with every organization in Ife. Anyone that wants to do something in Ife, we want to be part of it. We want to work together with a man or a woman or organization or a business that want to set up in Ife. If we believe you can package ourselves together, we will achieve more if we work together. So, Kabezi said, if you look by Felina, if you don't play your part, you won't be that man that Kabezi or a woman that Kabezi was referring to when he said, if you look by Felina. We would like to encourage everybody to please, if you don't want to work with Ife Legacy Foundation, you can do your own things, but we should stop holding back and expect the government or the king to do it all. Kabezi is doing a lot. We can all see it. Only yesterday, Kabezi launched the 7th of June 2016. Kabezi launched the cashew farm project with the governor yesterday. About a month ago, he launched something about the cocoa, when about 1 million cocoa seed in a plantation in Nigeria. All these things, Kabezi cannot keep on doing it. We all need to find ways of working with him. We all need to find ways of encouraging, of supporting Kabezi. And I'm happy to be part of that. I'm sure Mr. Mwele is too. And there's so many people that want to work in that environment as well. And we should all continue to do our best to support Ife.
All right. And you, sir, what is your word to Ile-Ife, people living in Ile-Ife and in the diaspora right now?
My word to Ife indigenes, but home and abroad, is that I'm using this opportunity to kind of just issue a clarion call, a call to duty, a call to commitment. In other words, a call to ensure that in our generation, we have the opportunity to leave a legacy behind for the coming generation. And the legacy that we can leave, one of the things that troubles me personally is because I lived my entire life, so to say, I grew up in, my early days, put it that way. Formative years, put it that way. And I knew what Ife used to be. We were there, what the environment and so on and so forth. And I've seen Ife kind of degenerating up till where we are at the moment. And there are many things that are responsible for that, most especially the modern Ile-Ife crisis, which obviously when there is war, I think in the last 35 years we experienced that about 4 times. So that has kind of brought Ife onto its knees. Now, my call at this time is that anyone that is from Ife, we all have a role to play, most especially when you look at our social-cultural and grassroots projects. Many of us can influence things in our local community. In other words, in our kudis. You know, we can do things, we can help people, we can influence decisions, because if development is going to happen, sometimes it's not just from top, it can be from the grassroots.
Right,
in other words, we can help our communities to begin to fashion a vision for the development of that community, and we can be part of it. We can be there. We can't just sit down and be talking and chatting. We need to go back into the grassroots. We need to go back into our compounds. We need to go back into our local environment and begin to see how can I instrument. If anyone is on legacy platform at the moment and you believe, because we don't have any other thing as legations, it's Ife development, Ife first. And anyone that is part of that, anyone that has bought into that, we don't just want it to be at that collective level alone. We want it to go to the grassroots, to go to the local level. Because when our people are empowered, then they cannot be manipulated. If our people are helped, they cannot be manipulated by politicians. We take power from politicians and we give it back to the grassroots. But if we don't do that, all we're doing is just deliberately handing over our people onto manipulation. So my call at this time is to everybody should get involved, because we all came out from one compound or the other. We've gone to Akodi when we were growing up to eat, to dine, to do a lot of things, and then we've walked away now. Many of us in Lagos, many in different parts of the world. We need to return back at this time and begin to think, just like Nehemiah, begin to see how can we rebuild the broken walls. And
Wow.
that has to be done by every one of us. That's my
Well,
point.
I want to say thank you to Mr. Demola Gunfidodo, the visionary of Legacy Foundation, and Mr. Niyumurele, the spokesperson
It's a pleasure.
for Legacy Foundation.
Thank you for having us.
Well,
here.
you've been listening to Legacy Foundation. This is an organization for Ile-Ife and Ife people. And I remain yours sincerely, Richard Oluyinka, for the Africana Show. Until we come your way again, keep watching. Bye.